We're gonna dive right on into it. So in this video, I'm gonna be installing Maximum Motorsports full-length, weld-in, powder-coated subframe connectors. Let's check it out. So I wanna get these subframe connectors installed. It's very crucial that the suspension is loaded. I don't have a drive-on lift, as you guys probably know. So I'm gonna use a tape measure. I'm gonna measure the height from the floor to the top of the wheel wells on all four corners. Then I'm gonna jack it up. I'm gonna put jack stands under the rear axle and on the front lower control arms out towards the wheels, try and get up as high as possible, but also make sure that whatever height I lift it stays the same so that it's as if this thing was on a flat surface, but lifted up off the ground. Ideally, so I do know from experience that this car doesn't sit perfectly level. For example, I've got, roughly 27 and change up here, 27 1/4. In the front, I know the back's a little bit different. Watch, it'll make a liar out of me. Yeah, it did 27 1/4-ish, 27 1/2 in the back. Let's check the other side and see what we're at here. Yeah, so this side is 27 3/4, and this one is just under 27, 26. So 3/4. So I'm gonna mark those down and try and, get them to be the same once I jack it up. I'll take some measurements, some notes. So after doing my measurements, this is what I got. So driver's side front, there's an inch difference here to here. The rear, not quite as much. What's that, like 3/8? So yeah, when I lift it, I'm gonna try and get it as close to these measurements plus whatever extra height I add. We'll see how that goes. So it's kind of a pain because you want to get the car up high enough, but you also want it level, but it's not always going to be level to start. So I'm kind of in a weird predicament right now because I've got it up supported. And if you come look at these numbers here, in black, you've got the front and rear heights. They're not perfect, but before and after, right? And then after lifted up, I've raised it about 14 inches on all four corners, but the number, it's sitting lower in the rear. Before it was sitting higher in the rear. So but I'm out of adjustment. I've already put 3/4 inch underneath those. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. It'd be nice to get this up even higher. Maybe I don't know, it's tricky. We might just run with it. So on the Cobras, you've got this transmission mount that comes over, and this piece right here is gonna block, if you trace a straight line from where you're gonna mount the fronts to where we're gonna go, in the back, this is gonna be in the way. So they tell you to measure in 2 inches. You're gonna have to cut, same thing on the other side, take that off. So as you can see, the subframe has a arc to it. Unfortunately, because the car has been jacked up improperly in the past, I'm getting too big of a gap in the front. If I make the front touch, the gap in the back is too big. So what they tell you to do in the instructions is actually to take this and straighten it out using a press. Now I have a press. I'm gonna try it in the vise first, see if that works, but if not, we'll go to the press. So that I don't go too far, I'm gonna measure it and then come back and check it after I do a little bit of bending. Okay, I'm trying this first to try and straighten it. If this doesn't work, I'll move to the press, but we'll try this first. So as you can see, I have the subframe mocked up. Nothing's welded yet. I ordered the one that was powder coated. So what I did was I marked both the subframe connector and anywhere on the car that needed to be ground, because now what I'll do is I'll take it off and I'll address everything with a flap disc and get it down to bare metal, then come back and start tacking it in place. Just take your time here because it'll be kind of a pain, to come back and have to take it off again if you miss any steps. As you can see, I've got the driver's seat brace up there into position, and I've got everything marked on both sides on that. Really would help if you had an extra set of hands. Okay, so I have everything all sanded down on the subframes, and I've got to go and do the same thing, obviously, on the underside of the car. This is like the last step, and they want you to weld the whole perimeter of this. This is just like a little plate to strengthen the piece where it's bent. But basically, I decided, let me just tack it in place, check my heat settings and everything, and then I can come back later and fill it in on the car. But for right now, I think it's fine. I mean, like, you could do this underneath the car, but then you're holding the piece upside down and tacking it. So this way it'll just be there. If I need to cut it and break the tack to, you know, bend it at all, I can, but I think that's just gonna make it easier for me. I hate welding upside down, so wherever I can avoid it, I like to try and not do that. While you're out here, there's two little holes, one on each side, that the instructions want you to fill. Might as well plug those up. And then I noticed on mine, maybe not on all of yours, but this little ear right here usually extended about that far. I had to cut it. So there's a raised piece on the front of the subframe, which seems to be hitting that a little bit. So this will just help me get these nice and tight when I go to weld them. So I just cut that off. I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference. I mean, there's the majority of your strength right there. I don't know how much of a difference that's gonna make, but like I said, I just cut off about 1/4 of an inch. So my little tripod broke, so I won't be able to film everything under the car, but the next step you gotta do is go under with the grinder, hit all the parts, don't forget the seat brackets, hit everything, get those all nice and down to bare metal, then you'll come back, put that back up in there, and then just start following the instructions. Oh, there's one other thing, you also need to weld the two little spots where you cut out. So if you have a GT, don't worry about it, but if you have a Cobra, where the transmission comes through, you got to cut out 2 pieces, and they want you to weld that back to the frame. So you cut out pieces so that the subframe connector can fit, but then the bottom side of that tab gets welded to the car. So let me go do that probably before I forget. As I mentioned, my tripod is broken, so I don't have any super sweet footage of me welding them in. But as you can see, they have been welded in successfully. And I went back with some black touch-up paint and went in and touched up all the areas that I welded. Now look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not a professional welder, as you can probably see. I'm not gonna be winning any awards for these welds, but they're in there, they're strong, and they're not gonna go anywhere. So let's go out and let's see what this thing is like. I'm excited to drive it and to try and get some driving impressions. So let's go for a ride. This is my first driving impression with the subframe connectors installed. And I've never driven a car that I can think of that I know that's had subframe connectors in it. So let's see what it is like. And these are the Maximum Motorsports full-length subframe connectors. So these should offer the maximum amount of rigidity. These do help brace the rear seat mounts. And just when I had the car on jack stands, I kind of grabbed the seat mounts and like wiggled them, and they did feel firmer. So basically what happens is you capture the bottom of the bolts with brackets, so it ties the two of them together, and you also weld that to the subframes. So we'll see. And then with this one, the way I did it, you also have, because it's a Cobra, you have to notch the transmission cross brace. So I'll actually, when I welded in the subframes, it captures the transmission cross brace too, which it wouldn't normally do on a GT. So I'm interested to see how much, if I get any difference in vibration or anything like that with the transmission. As I'm driving through the twisties, you know, I just had a right and a left kind of sweeping turn, and it felt good. It felt planted. It didn't feel like there was anything odd kind of going on. I think a big improvement would be a different steering wheel in this car, but I'm a little reluctant to lose the airbag. but I think that would make a major difference in terms of performance, because I never thought this thing handled bad to begin. I will say, with the subframe connectors, there does feel like a little added layer of confidence through the turns. And I'll really have to put this thing through its paces. There's an off ramp that I like to try and get on it, you know, coming out of, and I'm curious what it'll do there. It always gripped fine, but I got a lot of tire squeal, and I wonder if that was flex and just the suspension doing funny stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that is. Significant bump there, kind of mid-corner, and took it really well. So I kind of knew about that, and I wanted to take that corner at a little speed because I knew about that bump. But again, the car's pretty impressive. So where do I rank this on list of modifications that I've done so far for the car? From everything that I've read, subframe connectors are a must if you plan on tracking the car. With that being said, given that this is a Cobra, it does come with a lot more bracing from the factory. So you do have basically a strut tower brace, you've got a K-member brace. As you saw, the transmission cross member is a little bit different. So it does seem to me like Ford from the factory braced this a little more right out of the box. All those things in mind, I do think this is a worthwhile upgrade that you should do. I would not expect to be just, you know, blown away by the way it performs after you install them. It's also possible that I was on the street and I wasn't pushing the car super hard, so it would be interesting to do like a back-to-back comparison where you do track days with and without the subframe connector. But, you know, just driving around the street, does it feel a little firmer? Yes. Is it a night and day difference with the 96 through 98 Cobra? I'm gonna say no. All in all, still worth it. You will need to do this if you install a torque arm later, so they needed to go in. You know, plan on spending a few hours, the better part of a day. I think it took me 2 days doing it, but that was after work and stuff like that. So in future videos, so I did put the front brace back in, the strut tower brace. I had to notch that to clear the caster camber plates. I'm gonna do a video on how to install a new clutch quadrant and firewall adjuster, so I'll do that. And then after that, it's gonna be the pan hard bar. The pan hard bar is going in next. I still have an issue with the transmission wanting to burp fluid out of the breather. So I'm gonna come up with some sort of remote mounted catch can for that, and I'll probably at the same time install the oil catch can. So once we kind of get those things done, it's gonna be praying that we don't have snow and seeing if we can get this thing back out on the track, because I think those are gonna be major worthwhile changes. At some point, I will need to take it back to the exhaust shop just to make sure those hangers are firm and the exhaust doesn't hit the tires. But otherwise, I think we are getting ourselves back to a very good position. As you saw from one of the earlier videos, I took it on the track and the first track day went great. The second one, not so much. I'm very interested to see, you know, kind of where we go from here. So if you like the content, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notifications. What else can I say? Please leave comments. I read all your comments. I do really enjoy them, and I try to answer back if you have questions. So stay tuned for the next one, and we'll dive into that clutch quadrant installation.